UFC 303, June 29th. Only 5 fights on it have been announced, so I'm here to fill in the rest of the card with the UFC 303 card builder. Starting off, the first early prelim of the night. This one is already added by the UFC. I would never add this fight. I wouldn't even add this to the early prelim of an Apex card. But since it's already made, I had to throw it on here somewhere. So it's the first fight of the night. Michelle Waterson Gomez, 1-6 in her last 7 on a 4-fight losing streak. Still number 15 ranked in the world because that is WMMA. No, 14, not even 15. She's fighting number 15 in Jillian Robertson, who's 4-1 and 3-1 in her last 5. Is what it is. This is a fight that was made. Moving on. This is the first normal fight, that I've made. Cody Durden versus Niam Jargal Tumendemberel, who's Tumendemberel is undefeated, road to the UFC winner, and fighting Cody Durden, who's a decent UFC fighter, 4-1 in his last 5, 4-3-1 overall in the UFC. It's a decent test for official UFC debut. It's a great test, Cody Durden is. And moving on. Another undefeated road to the UFC winner. Similar timelines, just put him on the same card. Hype up the Asian market. This is a good sell. And Rai Tesora versus Carlos Hernandez, yet another undefeated road to the UFC winner. And Carlos Hernandez, it's kind of the same thing as Cody Durden, except Carlos Hernandez has already lost to an undefeated Asian prospect before. I don't even know his name. Probably couldn't say it anyway. But it's just this card you're gonna see a lot of prospects you haven't heard of that the UFC is gonna try to build up by them hopefully having impressive performances. So bear with me. Just like this next one, Claudio Pelez versus Nurullo Aliyev. Aliyev is 9-0, who's been out for a year. He's 2-0 in the UFC, and Claudio Pelez is the most boring fighter I've ever seen. In his last 3 fights, last 3 total fights, 6 rounds of fighting through those fights, about, give or take. He's thrown 10 total strikes, significant strikes. Landed 10 significant strikes. 5 in 1 fight, 4 in 1 fight, and 1 in 1 fight. 10 in 3 fights. 1 of which went the distance. 1 made the second round, and 1 ended in the first. He's 1-2 in his last 3. 0-2 in his last 2. So yeah, it's just time for him to get out the UFC, give him to an undefeated prospect in Aliyev. Moving on. Cub Swanson versus Andre Fili. The last early prelim headliner. This is just a fight that the UFC made. I don't know why. Not a lot at stake here, but it's a fight for sure. Probably going to be a banger. It'll probably swing and bang. But moving on. Mayra Benasova versus Macy Chiasson. Yeah, I don't know. Mayra's coming off a title loss to fucking Raquel Pennington. And Chiasson is 2-2 in her last 4. She's a win 1, lose 1 type of fighter. Number 7 versus number 3. These are your number 7 and number 3 ranked contenders in the world, ladies and gentlemen. 1 loss to Raquel Pennington, one's 2-2 in their last 4. Fucking great. Moving on. David Grant versus Peyton Talbot. I feel like this is a great opportunity to build up Peyton Talbot on a McGregor card. Put him on the prelim. Above Mayra Benasova too, because they can maybe advertise the number 3 ranked girl in the world. People maybe tune in for that. Then next you'll see Peyton Talbot versus David Grant. And this is a very winnable fight for Peyton Talbot. Grant, 38 years old. And he can also market or advertise that Grant, he has wins over Chito Vera, Jonathan Martinez, and Rafael Assunção. So yeah, this could be a good win on the record of Peyton Talbot. All things considered. Considering Davy Grant's resume, he's beaten decent competition, and he's 38 years old, so this is a very winnable fight for Peyton Talbot. And Talbot's already tapped into the online YouTube market because he wants to get interviewed by Lucas Tracy, and MMA Guru, who's friends with Cameron Simon, got his ass beat by Peyton Talbot. So he's already kind of a big name online. Everybody on YouTube kind of knows who he is, so it's a good advertising. It's a good time to advertise him to the MMA world. Moving on, Jeff Neal versus Michael Morales. Jeff Neal's on a 2-fight skid. Granted, he fought Shavkat and Ian Gary, but it's the same story when he lost to Wonder Boy and Neil Magny back to back. Every time, at some point, you just got to defend your ranking, man. And now's that time. Jeff Neal has to defend his ranking against an undefeated 16-0 Michael Morales, 5-0 in the UFC, who should get his chance to go fight for a ranking spot now. And what better chance to try to build a guy like him up on the McGregor card on the prelims of it right after a Talbot fight. It all just makes sense. Michael Morales, he has all the potential. He can beat Jeff Neal. And Jeff Neal kind of stunk it up against Ian Gary, so it's not like he's some exciting fighter that loses. No, he's got power. He could put you out with one hit, but he's not going out to get that one hit. He's a lot more technical, a lot more about timing and stuff, which is all well and good, but doesn't always make for the most exciting of fights. So, yeah, Michael Morales versus Jeff Neal. Moving on. Joe Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriault. This is the fight that the UFC already made. This is the prelim headliner. To build up that Joe Pyfer name against a guy like Marc-Andre Barriault, who just went to war with Chris Curtis. You know, they're both going to stand and strike. They're going to swing and bang. It'll be a very entertaining fight. It's also a good opportunity if Joe Pyfer were to win for him to build up his name. And the UFC can market this guy more. They already tried when they put him in a main event against Hermanson. It failed. But he lost a 48-47 decision. He didn't get, murdered in there. So there's still potential for this guy to make a comeback. Just beat a guy like Marc-Andre Barriault in an exciting fight. And you see we'll see what happens from there. Oh, yeah. Moving on to the main card. The main card opener. Bryce Mitchell versus Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez. Put him on the undercard of McGregor, man. And then he wins this, you could turn him right around for the sphere. But this is a great, because Bryce Mitchell, very well known. It'll be great for him to be at the press conference, a flat earther. Hey there, brother. Hey there, brother. He'll be motivated to fight Diego Lopez too, because Diego Lopez is not a white-blooded American. So Bryce Mitchell has all the motivation in the world. And yeah, this will be a good fight, good exposure. I think Diego Lopez can get a finish too. A nice TKO finish, build up his name on the McGregor undercard. Moving on, Joaquin Buckley versus Michael Venom Page. Joaquin Buckley just knocked out Vicente Luque. And yeah, man, this is just two strikers that can go at it. You know, there's not much more to it. Two exciting strikers that can go at it. Winner of this gets to move on, maybe fight a loser of whenever Shavkat and JDM fight. Maybe you can fight the loser of that to break into that top 5. But yeah, and especially at the press conference. Another thing, this will be a great press conference, as you'll see as I go through the whole main card, because that's another thing you have to think about. Especially on an International Fight Week McGregor card, this could be a very good press conference with all these guys on stage. Yeah, so moving on to the feature bout. This is the fight a UFC already made, Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree. This is another good one, man, for the press conference aspect of it. And Jamal Hill defending his ranking, turn around real quick to prove that he's not a loser, you know, just get that win back, get back in the win column, have some momentum. And Khalil Roundtree, can he break into the top 5 and get his chance at Alex Pereira? Who knows? We shall see. Look at the difference in their bodies. You would never think the guy on the left was the world champion and the guy on the right wasn't. But yeah, this would be very good for a press conference. And it's just a good stylistic matchup too, two strikers. So it's also a good fight in general. Moving on to the co-main event. Colby Covington versus Ian Gary. Now, you'll have Ian Gary and Colby Covington going back and forth. And I know Colby will chirp. Colby will chirp at Chandler. He'll chirp at McGregor. He'll chirp at Joaquin Buckley. And he'll chirp at MVP. He'll just chirp at everybody, and everybody's gonna chirp back at him. This would be one of the best. This has potential, if this is the main card, to be one of the best press conferences of the year, of the past couple years probably. But yeah, this is the co-main you have to make. Two Irish men building up. Ian Gary probably gets a title shot after this, and so the way the division would play out, because I think Ian Gary would smoke Colby Covington, you got to do Leon Bilal. Then the winner of that fights Ian Gary, while JDM and Shavkat fight, and the winners of those two fights fight each other. So yeah, this would be a great co-main. The fight itself probably wouldn't be that exciting, but the press conference and the build-up would be fantastic. And yeah, I think it's a great co-main to make. You can even make it 5 rounds if you really want to. I think that favors Colby, depending on how Ian Gary's cardio holds up if he doesn't finish Colby. But yeah, moving on to the main event. You already know it. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler. There's not much I could say about this fight. It's been known. It's been happening for years, or like a year about. So yeah, I just can't wait. But with the supporting cast in the main card, the press conference would be great. And with all the prospects on the undercard, I think this could be a really good card, really special card for International Fight Week. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of this card in the comments. Any fighters you think could fight a different fighter, or just any fights that don't make sense on here that you could replace with another fight you guys think. Just let me know in the comments down below, and that's it from me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.